Two. And we are recording with the one and only Dr. Roger Hodkinson, who most notably responsible for my second ever suspensioning from YouTube. And we have not stopped yet. And Dr. Hodkinson is if you want to kill your podcast, bring on Dr. Hodkinson, and he will ensure that you get banned from all of the anti-free speech platforms. And if you're not sure which platforms are anti-free speech, bring on Dr. Hodkinson. He's like a metal detector. He'll find them out, and then they'll kill you. But like natural selection, then you just end up with the ones that are good. So
that's a wonderful compliment. Thank you, Tommy.
Absolutely, I wouldn't have it any other way. With that, Dr. Hodkinson, please introduce yourself to all the new listeners.
Okay, well, briefly, I've done a lot of stuff in medicine, but I'm not portraying myself as an expert in any of the subspecialties that are very relevant here. I'm not an epidemiologist, virologist, etc. I am a general pathologist by training, who's done a great deal in his career. I've been an assistant professor at the local university, doing a lot of teaching. I'm a graduate of Cambridge University, UK. I've been chairman of the examination board for pathology of the Royal College of Surgeons and Physicians in Ottawa, making sure that residents are safe to read your breast biopsies, and so on. I've been president of our Provincial Association of Pathologists, but I'm most proud of having been the honorary chairman of Action on Smoking and Health for 20 years, taking on big tobacco with some success. During which I learnt a great deal about the media and lobbying, the political scene, and so on. So by virtue of those decades in public health as an advocate, I'm probably a lot more knowledgeable than some of the clowns who pretend that they're specialists in public health today, with the exception of notable exceptions, of course, of Jay Bhattacharya, Martin Kulldorff, Harvey Kirsch, Risch, and so on. No, I've earned my spurs in the trenches of public health, taking on big tobacco, and now we're taking on big pharma and big government. I like to get involved in big stuff, and this is big stuff.
Yeah, it's and big tech. Don't forget that one. Don't forget that
Big
giant.
tech.
That's
big tech.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for all future listeners, today is Monday, December 6th, 2021. And we have the newest boogeyman of the Omicron variant, which, Roger, I'm not sure if you knew this, but we're all going to be dead by Christmas from Omicron.
Yes, you might like to know, and your listeners that do crossword puzzles might like to know that the anagram of Omicron is moronic.
And yeah, I saw another one. It was it's if you take Delta and Omicron, I think you can spell, what can you spell? You can spell media something. I don't remember what it is, and I'm butchering it, so now I don't sound as cool. But it, on one hand, it's kind of hope inspiring, because these variants are starting to act as for people to go, wait, hold on. People who before this would look at us and say, oh, you anti-vaxxers, you're literally killing grandma, now are starting to look at it and go, what do you mean? Yeah, it's more virulent, but first of all, it's not. But, as these things get more virulent, they get less lethal, which would thus accelerate herd immunity. And I believe as of yesterday, Israel is now requiring a second booster shot on top of the first booster shot, on top of the first two shots. And now, if you do not get the fourth booster, if you don't get the fourth shot within 6 months of getting your third shot, your vaccination card is no longer compliant, and you can't get into stores and do stuff. So again, another conspiracy theory that they're just going to require you to take more and more shots if you want to participate in society is yet again true. And there's that great interview with that woman, Haley Hodgson, who had to go to a COVID quarantine camp in Australia for 14 days.
Oh, yeah,
Just did an
yeah,
interview like 3 days ago. It's already got 1 million views.
yeah.
But quote, COVID concentration camps, once a conspiracy, now, well, it's just for 14 days, that good compliant German citizen ideology. But Dr. Hodkinson, what are your thoughts on the big bad boogeyman of the Omicron variant?
Well, it's another scariant. The evidence to date would suggest that it's not only less virulent, but also potentially less transmissible. These variants tend to get progressively weaker in a general sense with each iteration. And everyone should understand that RNA viruses constantly mutate. We know that, it's predictable. There will be more variants if they continue with this mad vaccination program, which is putting what we call evolutionary pressure on the virus to evade our immune system in some way. And it is nothing to be feared. It's expected. It cannot be beaten. Zero COVID is a ludicrous concept from an epidemiologic perspective. These viruses constantly mutating are therefore less and less countered by the vaccine that was designed against the original version, the alpha version. They've changed significantly since then, particularly the Omicron variant, scariant. So the vaccines, the boosters, all for yesterday's virus, they haven't a possibility of eradicating it. Every attempt to eradicate, I've got to be very, very clear here for everyone listening. According to the experts in the field, the virologists, the vaccinologists, vaccinating a mass population, billions of people, right in the middle of a pandemic is known to fail. It's a political decision. It's a mad decision from a medical virological perspective. It is guaranteed to fail because you're putting evolutionary pressure on the virus to evade, and it will simply make the pandemic continue. What should have happened a long time ago and could still happen is to stop this madness in its tracks completely, stop the vaccinations for anybody, for anything, anywhere, granny included, and introduce appropriate measures, the first one of which is common sense, which has allowed us to survive multiple flu outbreaks in the past. Early treatment as per the McCullough and Zelenko protocols with ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, supplemented by vitamin D, and then just doing the usual thing. If you got sick when you had the flu, you stayed at home. You didn't need the bloody government to put its jackboots in your face. No, you were responsible. You didn't tap the person ahead of you in the grocery lineup and say, "Excuse me, could you turn around, please, because I want to cough in your face." No, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. We were responsible, and we can be trusted, government. You fascist bastards doing all of this. We can be trusted to look after ourselves. For God's name, get out of our space and stick to your knitting.
This is why I love having you on. But it's true, right? And we can see already the discussion of the new Omicron vaccine. Will there be a new vaccine? And not only that, you can start to see, right? Who was it? Ursula von der. I don't know how to say her name. The EU chief, who I believe last Thursday, December 2nd or whatever day it was, said the EU should seriously consider scrapping the Nuremberg Code so that they can mandate vaccinations.
It's no surprise that Merkel in Germany,
I know,
is proposing a mandated vaccine for everyone.
We shall have compliance in the vaccination program, and you will take the trains to the quarantine camp for health for all.
Exactly. It's no surprise that that initiative in Germany and the president of the EU, who is also German, should be saying these things.
Yeah.
It's no surprise. It's in their genes. It's in their genes to be fascist.
Yeah. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
though, I mean, you couldn't write this that they're
No.
coming out. I mean, that a German is coming out and going, yo, got to get rid of this Nuremberg Code.
Yeah, it's rather dangerous. It's rather dangerous, isn't it? They could be hanging us, so we better get rid of it. Yeah, I mean, the most offensive things are happening. Also, of course, with children, which is one of my biggest motivators right now, is the attack on children. I phrase it like this, looking straight at a politician's face. Has it really come to this? Has it really come to this? You're proposing child sacrifice to appease the new gods of which you're claiming to be one. Has it really come to this? Because let me tell you something, Mr. Minister. It didn't work for the Aztecs to make the rain fall, and sacrificing kids will not protect Granny in the nursing home. How dare you sacrifice our kids? They're not at risk. If they get it, it's like a trivial cold, and you're proposing to inject them with a toxin that is known to kill a certain number of them. How dare you do that? And how dare you have these jab clinics in schools where there's no possibility of informed consent, where the parents are sidelined? How dare you do that? It's state-sanctioned murder, and you will be held responsible. Watch out. We are coming for you. You are not immune from prosecution. There will be blood in the gutter when we're done with you. Watch out.
I mean, you see it right now with, isn't it Pfizer who said that, and I can't say it off the top of my head, so someone will have to check me on it. But I think in the last week or so, they've said that they're hesitant to go into, there's one or two nations, I think in Europe maybe, or in Asia, they're hesitant to go in there because they're not being granted immunity, legal immunity. So we won't go in there because we're not safe from all repercussions. When you zoom out and then look at Ursula von Hitler saying that we need to scrap the Nuremberg Code, and then there's, I don't know if you saw that, but there's a picture for like a month ago meeting with whatever his name is, Alan, I think it's Burla, the CEO of Pfizer. So you can kind of see this on like a meta scale, right? You have Pfizer saying we're not going to go into these countries unless we can have the same legal immunity that we're granted in all these other nations, which originated here under Trump, which is just, you and I both agree on, is just complete bullshit on Trump's part. But also you can kind of see it in a more zoomed out version of, let's scrap the Nuremberg Code. Maybe we want to bend this stuff even more. Maybe we want to bend what is deemed acceptable or legal under the Nuremberg Code to do this. And I mean, it's moving more and more slowly. I mean, the biggest one, Harris Springs, it's the quarantine camp in Australia, of which there are several. The original story came out 2 weeks ago that said the military was bringing indigenous in, and I did believe, perhaps at my own fault, I did believe that maybe it wasn't bad, because in my mind, first of all, I'm not there, so I can't, I can't do anything but speculate. But when you viewed it, you're like, oh, well, these are this like beyond poor section of the populace. Maybe they're just getting healthcare. I don't know. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, but there are now stories of individuals, young individuals in their teens, healthy, escaping from the camps.
I know.
And then there are whole lockdowns all around it. Stop the traffic, start searching cars, police are out. This has nothing to do with a cough. This is about control.
Let's get back to real brass tacks, as we say in Northern England. This is nothing more than a bad seasonal flu. John Ioannidis, Stanford, esteemed epidemiologist. Great Barrington Declaration do nothing except protect the vulnerable. Jay Bhattacharya and co. Everyone should understand that nothing of this magnitude should have been done. This has touched every single person on earth, if not medically, financially, inflation, scarcity, schooling. In every little village in Africa, it's affected everybody. It was all totally unnecessary. If it had been managed on the basis of a regular flu, let it run its course, develop herd immunity, and move on. That is the scale of what's been happening and how grotesquely disproportionate it is to what should have happened. They can still do that, and they still should. I want to say something. You mentioned Trump a minute ago. Trump was dead wrong on everything to do with COVID, but I'm still a Trumper. I believe in everything that he did other than COVID.
Oh, I'm an open fan of him. I think his COVID response
But-
and vaccine rollout was shit.
But Trump has got to get ahead of this game, because he didn't just lose the last election because of COVID, due to the Democrats maliciously manipulating absentee ballots in their favor because of people being afraid to go to the polls because of COVID, which is absolute nonsense. But they did that magnificently and with superb efficiency, Machiavellian. He lost the election because of COVID, ultimately. He could lose in 24 because of COVID. Because between now and then, the autopsies of this mad episode will be written by the likes of Alex Berenson and co. in lay language, making everyone aware of the most colossal calamity in human history. And they will try to lay that at Trump's feet, because he was duped by the most vile man walking, flip-flop Fauci and Birx. Birx was the henchwoman. I should get my gender right.
Get your genders right, Roger.
The henchman for Fauci to deliver the messaging to everyone. Trump's got to get ahead of this game right now, if anyone's listening that can speak to him. Because if he doesn't, it will be laid at his feet and he will lose again. When people are so revolted about the deaths that will be happening shortly in children, for example, when that's laid at his feet, that would be unsurvivable. So he's got to get ahead of that story, stand up, do the big mea culpa, point his finger squarely at Fauci, who lied to him constantly. A businessman knows nothing about medicine, and Fauci had him in the palm of his hand. Do the big mea culpa, put your standard in the ground, and there'll be a roar from the population of support. It will not be damaging to see a politician contrite, admit mistakes. But he's got to do that now for all of us, because he's the savior of democracy. If he goes down, we all go down. And the Chinese are loving it.
Yeah. It's when we talk about shots in kids, and now like scrapping Nuremberg, sort of forecasting what's coming and knowing to get ahead of it, which again, it's Machiavellian, but it's brilliant. It's evil, but you have to respect it, just like you have to respect the 2020 election. You got to respect the tactic when you see it. They're getting ahead of it now with you can see all the news articles in lockstep, like climate change causing heart problems in kids. Here come the cold weather, and as they're just inserting it into the public psyche, like it's always been a thing. They're like, here come the winter blood clots.
Yeah.
They're doing all this shit that you're like, I'm only 31, but the winter blood clots, is this a phenomena that I've never heard of before? Climate change is now causing heart attacks in children. Really? Just this winter? I mean, for the first time, what happened in the last year? And
there's going to be climate lockdowns next. I mean,
100%.
We can see where it's going. No, this is a defining moment for democracy.
Humanity.
Yes, it goes beyond democracy. Um, and just to put a point on that issue, Tommy, COVID is a very fortunate in many respects event because it is finally focusing the general population on the translation of decades of wokeism into every walk of life. The following of the herd, the I know best. All you need is a water bottle, Netflix, and everything's peachy, you know. And an iPhone, of course, for yourself is, as long as you've got those three, everything's peachy, isn't it? We're under potentially an existential threat to humanity from gain of function. It disappears in the small print. Gain of function, for everyone listening, is when you intentionally manipulate a virus to make it more dangerous under the ridiculous academic concept of making it easier to study and making cures more likely. That gain of function is why we're in this mess right now with COVID, because it escaped from that lab, not intentionally. It was just a bloody awful lab in terms of biosafety. But the point is this: gain of function is not rocket science. It can be done in any molecular diagnostic laboratory. It's a bigger threat to humanity than nuclear weapons. There should be an international moratorium on any gain of function anywhere for any reason. It could be going on in a lab in North Korea, in Iran, for example, right now. It's still going on in China and the United States and Britain. Gain of function research is still going on, and Canada for that matter. So that's one of the big lessons that came out of COVID, the very fortunate event that made us focus on this threat. It's also made us focus on the dependence on China for many things that are essential for our daily lives, not just microchips for cars, but pharmaceuticals, 90% of which come from China. There's an old theme in medieval battle called siege towers: starving your enemy to death. You don't feed your enemy. No one should buy anything from China. We need to starve them to death economically, because we are currently at undeclared war with China. We've got an incredibly weak, that's an understatement, a feeble United States president who would get scared with a goose running at him, and an ascendant China with aggressive intent, just having launched a stealth missile, for example. Quemoy, the Taiwanese island, is within artillery range of the Chinese mainland. You could pick off Quemoy with artillery as a little toe in the water to see what Biden would do, which would be nothing. He couldn't do anything anyway. So we're at undeclared war with China. That's another big lesson that's come out of COVID. COVID could look like a walk in the park if there's another gain of function, a malicious gain of function escape. So people need to wake up to the threat that all this poses for democracy, for our future children's health, all the complications that are unclear that could be happening as a result of vaccinating our children, such as infertility, such as the possibility of accelerating cancer because of the surveillance system being diverted from monitoring the emergence of that, such as premature development of congestive heart failure and dementia because of the clot shot. We know that 60% of everyone vaccinated has a disseminated, a widespread intravascular within the blood system coagulation going on because of the positive D dimer test. That's known, that's been shown by multiple parties. That means that there is random cell death in organs that don't regenerate, namely the brain and the heart. That's survivable, that's not presenting as problems because there's enough reserve at that younger age. But it's that reserve that we depend upon when you get to my age, when you want to preserve as many functional neurons and heart muscle cells as possible to prevent the onset of the inevitable. Those are the risks that our children are now being exposed to, quite apart from myocarditis and the huge number that are being diagnosed. 500 in my own country, in Ontario. 500. And they're calling it mild. CDC is calling this mild. Are you kidding me? Myocarditis is never mild. And to put a point on that, the senior editor-in-chief of the world's most prestigious journal, the New England Journal of Medicine, his name is Dr. Rubin, a name that will go down in infamy as a result of what I'm going to tell you now. He was on the FDA committee looking at whether or not these vaccines should be approved for children. And he said on camera, well, we won't know what it does until we use it, will we? You can't, that's from a physician, an influential physician, as editor-in-chief of the most important medical journal in the world, who has the audacity to say, these kids could die. Well, we don't know, do we? We'll have to just find out. We'll have to give it to them without need, knowing full well it's not effective, and it can also kill them. But we won't know until we try it. He actually said that. Can you get a sense here, Tommy, for how pervasive this madness has become? Not just with politicians in Europe, the senior editor of the New England Journal, Biden, Fauci, Birx, Bojo in Britain. I mean, the Australian experience. It's deep and it's prevalent. And that's why everyone has to stand up. You've got to individually stand up and take the shots, not the clot shot. Take whatever comes at you, all right? Whether it's job or family or educational opportunities or whatever. You individually, everyone has to stand up and see what's coming. There's a train coming down the track to your personal city, and it's got your name on it. And now's the time to stand up before that train accelerates, because it's like 1938 all over again. Well, they didn't come for me, did they? They came for my neighbor who happened to be a Jew. Well, sooner or later, they'll be coming for you. Yeah. So stand up now, whatever it takes, because the very future of democracy and humanity, as you said, Tommy, is in the swing here. All because of this most absurd reaction to what is nothing more than a bad seasonal flu. There are cracks starting to appear in the dam, very telling. This is not survivable in the long term. Tyranny always fails. But who wants to wait that long? It's got to implode now. And that's why any politician listening to this has got to get ahead of the curve now if you want to preserve your pensions. Forget about society, self-preservation. Yeah, that's my message for everyone listening. This is bloody, bloody serious. You can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah. It's, you and I actually talked about this like 200 episodes ago. But I mean, the first concentration camps you would go to, you'd only have to go to for 48 hours at a time, and then they'd let you out. There was like a general mess hall, and the inmates and the guards, they would all eat dinner there, drink gin, smoke cigarettes, play cards. That's how it started. And then it went from 48 hours to 7 days.
Yeah, the soft cell. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's how this stuff starts, and it's becoming more and more apparent to those who don't want to see. And I get it. I don't want it to be true. I get no pleasure out of this, but at a certain point, you can't turn away from it. You have to look at it. You can see the smoke coming from under the door. The door handle's hot. You can smell it. The fire alarm's chirping. At a certain point, you have to go, I think we got to get out of this room. Like, it's not fun. It's scary to think about a fire. Man, I'm going to lose all my stuff. I don't have insurance. That all sucks. I get it. But at a certain point, objective reality is staring you in the face, and you have, you know, Chernobyl. It's just, it's, this isn't bad. This isn't bad till finally someone comes in. They're like, dude, they're detecting this over in like Sweden. Like, something's going on here. At a certain point, objective reality breaks through. But like you said, tyranny does always fall. But Elon Musk talks about this in where he's quoted in the book Space Barons by Christian Davenport. And it's all about the, in 10 years we'll have these rockets, in 20 years we'll have these rockets. And Elon's interviewed in it. He's interviewed back in like 2000, and he's going, we have this misconception that as time goes on, technology advances, which to you and I, or Roger, you, a doctor, me, just a podcaster, it does kind of seem like a thing that just moves forward, like rising snow levels or something. Yeah, the iMacs get better, the iPhones get stronger. You're like, yeah. But as Elon points out concerning rocket technology in the early 2000s, he goes, it only gets better because you don't see it, but people are mercilessly pushing it forward. They're making the baby steps. They're investing the money in the R&D, and rockets are blowing up and you're losing contracts, but that's what pushes it forward. So instead of waiting for tyranny to end, you have to start pushing forward. You have to, and it's pretty simple. I'm not saying you got to go get a gun and storm a building. I'm not saying that at all, actually, FBI. What I'm saying is hey, if you see something about the COVID concentration camps in Australia, or if you see something about myocarditis in kids, or if you see something about football players dropping on the pitch, post it online, and you know what's going to happen? People are going to make fun of you, and people are going to ridicule you. But that's the only price you have to pay. 70 years ago, the price you had to pay was German machine gun fire. Now, you just got to post something on Instagram, and you get a bunch of people commenting, oh, you fucking psychopath, you crazy. Hey, brush it off. It's all right. It's the least you can do. You have to push it forward. The dam does break, but the dam breaks because there's a million little chips. If we just all sit here and go, the dam's going to break one day, then we're going to be sitting here until we're all marched into the showers and the Zyklon B pops out and we go, I thought someone else was going to do it. Just do your part. Just post stuff online. If that's all you have time for, post stuff online. Drop it here, drop it there. Say, man, this is fucked up. My neighbor's kid he has myocarditis. He's 7. Just little tiny things. But we have to do it now because this isn't something that we can avoid. It's here. It is here, and it's coming. You can deal with it today, or you can deal with it in a month, or you can deal with it in a year. But every day that you don't deal with it, it's going to be worse and more difficult to attack. So it's a tiny tumor now. Go get it snipped off before it goes into all your organs and goes to stage 4 and rant.
Gainer, fantastic monologue. No, Tommy, fantastic monologue.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Gain of function is a classic example of the human race being too smart for its own good. Just because you can do something doesn't mean to say you should do something.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, the Achilles heel of democracy is called freedom. Because when freedom is exploited in, for example, gain of function or a million other ways in our society, when freedom is exploited, Black Lives Matter, for example, when freedom is exploited without the essential partner of responsibility, that's when we get into trouble. There's been a decreasing sense of responsibility in society. Everyone wants freedom for everything, everywhere, handouts, and the state, being the nanny and all that. But unless there's a responsibility in the exercise of freedom, we're in a very dark place. And wokeism has eroded responsibility by just not having to think about consequences anymore. Just take the goodies and live your hedonistic life. Enjoy the swill down the drain while it lasts, without those those terribly old-fashioned and out-of-date concepts of societal responsibility to your neighbors, to your country, to the world, to the environment. You don't have to go to the extreme of being a greenie on responsibility. That's absurd too. But there's got to be balance. There's got to be balance in that equation of freedom and responsibility, and that balance has gone out of the window. And COVID is merely an example of that in full flood. The machination of government to suppress dissent, to prevent information flowing. For the vaccine, two fundamental aspects of medicine, of course, everyone's heard about it. First, do no harm and informed consent. How can you have informed consent if you are not informed? And the prohibition of information has not been accidental. It's been malicious. It's been the silencing of politicians, losing their jobs and caucus, pension, re-election chances. It's been the media, at least in Canada, being bribed into silence, gallons of money being chucked their way, splashing around. The social media giants, of course, with their own agenda of knowing what is right, and suppressing everything else. And medicine, the worst of the lot. Medicine has been viciously suppressed internationally, in all the Western countries, as the principal resource for sanity in all of this. People have just not been getting the truth. So yeah, it's desperate times, and COVID should be seen for the much bigger thing than it is. As bad as it is, as bad as all the consequences are with mandated vaccinations and passports and Nuremberg and so on, as bad as that is, as bad as killing kids is on the altar of our politicians, as bad as all that is, it pales in comparison to the end game.
What do you think that end game is?
Well, I don't think it's intentional desire for genocide. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I take vaccines myself. I'm an evidence-based physician, have been my entire career. No, the end game is it's Occam's razor in action.
Mm-hmm.
The simplest explanation is the most likely one. Look no further than political stupidity. Just because you're an elected politician doesn't mean to say you're necessarily smart or responsible. They back themselves into a corner and they can't get out of it. But politicians enjoy power, and they're following the herd, and the herd gives them safety, like it does in any animal grouping. In the plains of Africa, they all stick together because the hyena doesn't know which one to attack. They're all running around. Yeah, that's my explanation of it. I think to think that every leader had in their top right-hand drawer the plan is ludicrous.
Yeah, no, that's
someone would have blown the whistle, and it's just too monstrously stupid to contemplate. No, they're all following each other. And no one had the smarts at the very get-go of of doing due diligence on Neil Ferguson's Armageddon projections. Everyone accepted that as going to happen, despite the fact that he was so wrong by orders of magnitude with previous pandemics. That was, if you like, the first mistake. The release from Wuhan was accidental. But Ferguson, of course, I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but Ferguson is not a physician or epidemiologist. He's a theoretical physicist by training. He knows dick about medicine. And Imperial College London, where he pontificates, guess who the major benefactor donor is of Imperial College London? And then connect the dots. Bill Gates.
Oh, Jesus.
You don't bite the hand that feeds you, do you? Especially if you're a dyed-in-the-wool socialist like Ferguson. No. Sorry, I'm on my own rant here.
No. Keep going. No, keep going.
No, those are the big things. The big things need to be repeated over and over again to get the attention of people. But the autopsies are being written as we speak on what has gone so monstrously wrong and touched everyone on the planet for the most absurd reasons imaginable. It's the most catastrophic event in human history in terms of its consequences globally. It exceeds the Holocaust. It exceeds Pol Pot. It exceeds Mao Zedong. It exceeds the pogroms in Russia. It exceeds the Ukrainian starvation. It's in a league above all of that, a quantum above that. That's the scale of what's going on, and it shows no signs of ending.
Yeah.
So stand up.
Yeah.
Be counted. Be vigorously vocal. Bang the desk of your politician. Go and see your minister and say, why in God's name, literally, I'm an agnostic, but I go to the wall for religion. Go to see your minister and say, why in God's name are you hiding behind your pulpit? Your job is to lead the flock, and they're desperate for your leadership right now. Bang the desk with your politicians, bang the desk with your church leaders, so-called. What did Jesus do in the temples?
Start flipping tables.
I was brought up a Methodist, even though I'm now an agnostic. Yeah, he didn't hide behind the columns. He turned over the bloody tables. And he took the punishment that was coming his way. Well, that's what we all have to do now in our own little ways. We've got to take the punishment that will come your way.
Yeah. Because you can stand up now and make it so that we have a fighting chance, or you can do nothing and then be demolished anyway. It's like one of my favorite quotes concerning like dieting and exercise and like trying to get a physique you want. And it's, you can either suffer the pain of discipline or you can suffer the pain of regret. Either way, you're suffering. So which outcome do you want? Suffer and get something out of it, get some six-pack abs, or suffer and hate yourself. So it's you're suffering no matter, there's no way around it. You're not suffering. Okay. So you can stick your head in the sand now. I got my booster. I'm just, doing whatever. What do I care? I'm compliant. Just do your anti-vaxxer, idiot.
Stop. Parents should stop and think about the future for their kids. It's not just the monstrous national debt that's been imposed upon them in the future that will result in increased taxes, subtext, reduced standard of living, will result in reduced services, subtext, how many minutes it takes to get the ambulance to you to give you the clot buster for your stroke, the fire that started in the basement, the education that your children will not receive because of the need to repay the debt. All right, that's one horrible future that's not talked about very much. But look at the other future for your children. We are injecting them as we speak with a toxic agent that they don't need, that can not only kill them now, but potentially, and I use that word, I'm not trying to be a scaremonger, but the evidence is there scientifically, that there could be serious fertility problems for them in the future. Fertility problems for your children. Serious, unstudied, for which there's good scientific evidence from, for example, the Pfizer submission to the Japanese authorities that was obtained under Freedom of Information. Serious risks for fertility. Serious risks for premature onset of heart failure and dementia. And serious risks for cancer surveillance. We're already seeing the emergence of cancers that were previously, if you like, under control, getting out of control. The job of the immune system is it's got one job. It's to identify anything that's foreign getting in your body. Not just bugs like COVID, but cancer. Cancer is not you, it's different genetically. Major function of the immune system is to constantly surveil every nook and cranny in your body for cancer. If the immune system is suppressed in some way, such as with the clot shot and the focus on one particular bug to the exclusion of any other function of the immune system, then things go totally haywire. We have been, with this mad episode, we have been messing around in ways that we cannot currently understand with a perfectly attuned system to keep us alive until we're 85, the immune system. We've been messing around with that on a wish and a prayer for the most vacuous of reasons, without any clue about the long-term consequences. A normal vaccine is submitted to 5 to 10 years of study.
Yeah.
This one's been subjected to 6 months of study for very short-term events in a very limited number of demographics. We haven't a clue what it's doing to pregnancy. We are seeing suspicious increase in stillbirths, in spontaneous abortions, as we call it in medicine. But it's more than that. The emergence of cancer that was previously under control, or, you know, you see, people must understand, the immune system is so incredibly efficient. We don't know exactly the frequency of this, but think of it this way: every minute, every second of every day, lymphocytes are patrolling your body quietly, doing their business, killing off very small cancers, we believe, that don't get the chance to become clinical symptoms. That's happening all the time when you sleep, for every day of 85 years. That's what we're messing around with here. And we don't know. We don't know. Look at the color of my hair. I call it gray, not white, by the way.
It's a beautiful silver.
People that have my colored hair will recognize this word: thalidomide.
Oh yeah.
Thalidomide.
Flipper babies.
That's right. How did that happen? Big Pharma thought it could play around with the protocol, dispense with usual expected safety trials. And that's what happened. Yeah, thalidomide. Do we ever learn from history?
No.
What we're doing to our kids right now could make thalidomide look like fine print.
I think it will. I think that's really the only conspiracy I can kind of buy into, because I'm with you on all this. It's, yeah, the plan and the top. No, I don't see that. The only thing I could possibly maybe see is you design a mass vaccination program that doesn't kill people, because that would cause too much of an uproar. You would make it cause infertility, and that's how you would slow down population growth. That's really the only of all conspiracies with COVID. I tend to think that it was a virus that got out from just a shitty lab and that corporations are just making a dime on it. The only thing I could look slightly past Occam's razor for is it causes infertility. It would be a passive depopulation. That's the only thing I could even kind of dabble. Because to just outright kill people would cause way too much.
I mean, I know about Gates and all that. I mean, he's a fucking idiot. I mean, yeah. I mean,
I think it's a money grab. I think it's a money grab.
Hello, Mr. Gates. You may want to recognize that if you kill off 90% of the population, there may not be that many people buying your computers. Hello. No, the guy's an idiot. Just because, you know, he invented Microsoft doesn't make him intelligent. And he knows nothing about medicine. But no, I don't buy into this genocide nonsense. I don't buy into graphene oxide and 5G and all that bullshit.
I think you're probably right. I think it's Occam's razor. Hysteria, political one-upmanship. Look at me, I'm stopping this virus, and then just printing money.
The whole bravado, right? Zero COVID. We can wrestle this to the ground. You know, it's just going to take 2 weeks. That's all. Are you with me? You bet. Oh, hey, wow. Let's do it, man. Let's go get them.
There's nothing like a weak enemy for a nation to beat the shit out of to get out. Yeah, look at Desert Storm. You find a little enemy, you go in, you bulldoze them, and hoorah, that's us, right? I mean, yeah, you find a virus and you go, I'm going to kick the shit out. I'm not going to beat a real thing like Nazis.
You see, that was the ultimate motivation of Fauci.
100%.
Let's look at Fauci.
Savior. Yeah.
Let's look at this little man.
This little weasel.
Yeah. The little man syndrome, first of all, you know, full of bravado and strutting his little frame around the NIH for 30 years and making people kowtow to him. But the reality is, he never achieved much. He never got an HIV vaccine, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Always looking for some place in history, right? That was the motivation for gain of function that went horribly wrong. When that thing escaped and it got going in Milan, Fauci was the first man on earth to say to himself, holy shit, I did it. It was me. It was me. And that was the motivation for everything he got Trump to do, because God damn it, we're going to stop this because it's going to kill me. Forget about society.
Yeah.
It's going to kill me.
Yeah.
You know, the magnificent Fauci, right? And so that's why he doubled down on everything that was known to possibly be used, including a warp speed vaccine program, which was his idea. It wasn't Trump, for God's sake. He was a brilliant businessman, but he duped Trump into believing that me, the great I am, Anthony Fauci, can go down in history, you know, as the first person to develop an effective vaccine against an upper respiratory tract infection with new technology that's brilliant and just needs you to sign here, Donald, that everyone has total immunity from anything that happens, and I'll get it done for you. That's what happened at the table with Trump, and we got evidence of that lying firsthand, by the way, without more said. Yeah, that's Fauci for you. It was supposed to be his last hurrah, right? But it ended up being the last nail in his coffin.
Yeah, it's gonna come back to him. It's you know, justice is slow, but it always does. It always comes out. It always
Well,
catches up. It
Rand,
always.
Rand, Rand Paul has something in for
Oh
him, doesn't
yeah.
he? Yeah? 5 years in jail, Mr. Fauci. I think I told you that last time, didn't I? Are you going to repeat the same lies again in front of Congress? Of course, the good guys in Department of Justice are going to make sure he's all right.
Yeah. It's I think it will. Who knows? Maybe I'm just optimistic. It's like when a great white shark bites your leg off and you go into shock. Maybe my brain is just looking at like a global effort to enslave humanity, and so it's just protecting me, and that's what makes me so optimistic. But I don't think it is. I think it's still an uphill fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're going to come out on the other side. I really do. I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be tomorrow. But
No,
I think we're going to win. I do.
It'll be the first win against wokeism,
Yeah.
and it'll sensitize people to just how we got into that mess in the first place.
Yeah.
And as I said before, the best way to tackle wokeism is extraordinarily simple, and it's very quick. You turn off the spigot to the universities, the funding, so that they are brought to heel with a gnashing of teeth and claiming that their freedoms are being trodden on. But 90% of the junior faculty in all universities in the Western world are rampant socialists, if not outright communists. There's been surveys done on that. So until we control the junior faculty, who will become the senior faculty very shortly, until we control the faculty in universities, the inculcation of our youth into their concepts of a socialist dystopia will be very difficult to manage. We have to crucify the universities if there's any hope for democracy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also just in terms of, and we'll wrap up on this note, it's with censorship, you have to follow all the way through. You can't just say, oh, YouTube is, censoring people, but I won't talk about it. I won't talk about COVID. I won't talk about mail-in ballots. But YouTube censoring, no, you have to lean all the way in. Get banned. You have to get banned, and then you have to move to an alternative platform, which doesn't operate as well as YouTube. And you have to bring your little audience over. It's easy to say Joe Rogan should do it or what. No, you have to do your little part. So, all my friends that maybe have 500 subscribers or 1,000 subscribers, go get.
So what, for God's sake?
No, what I mean is, what I'm saying is these little channels, you got to get banned. Get banned and bring your tiny following over to Rumble or BitChute. And when enough people do that,
or wait for Trump's new social media platform.
Yeah, Trump's new thing in the spring. But don't even wait for that. Start now.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to say someone with millions of subscribers should do it. No, do your little part. I got banned and I maybe brought over 500 people to Rumble who never used Rumble before, but now use it to watch this podcast. That's what makes change, is a bunch of little tiny things pushing it forward. And so that's just kind of my side note, because I see all these big channels on YouTube. YouTube is all about censorship. I'm like, hey, stop talking about it and actually fucking pull your dick out. Say something. Say something about COVID. Say something about vaccine deaths. Say something about mail. I dare you. I'm a freedom fighter. I'm all about YouTube censorship. Hell yeah, talk about COVID. Oh, don't say that. I want to get banned. Well, then what the fuck are you? You're just as bad. Nut up and get on there. I mean, I think the last sentence I said on YouTube before I got permanently banned was COVID was a lab-made bioweapon used to steal an election to remove Trump. Yeah, it just, if you're going down, man, if your plane's going down, plow into the target. Go full kamikaze. Take a page out of the book of the Japanese fighters. I mean, if this is something you believe in, go for it. Go get banned. Hold up two middle fingers and get banned.
That was beautifully put.
I'm not even kidding. That was the last sentence I had that was on YouTube. It was poetic, a poetic ending.
That should be on your grave when you go close up. You know what's going to be on my grave?
What?
Never been to Vegas and never played golf.
Never been to Vegas and never played golf. I would say I am become Roger, destroyer of podcasts. You go on podcasts and they get banned. But Roger, let's wrap this one up. As always, it's a pleasure talking to you, my brother. Thank you for coming on here.
Yeah.
And I love your ferocity. Absolutely. We'll do it again and again and again until eventually we're thrown in the YouTube gulags. And then we'll podcast from there until they kill us. So
but we'll be on the right side of history, Mr. Carrigan.
we will. Oh, we will. And eventually we all just die anyway. So fucking go down on the right side. Eventually, in 1,000 years, we'll all be nothing but a distant footnote in a memory of a gravestone. So be on the right side.
You don't have to tell a pathologist that death is real.
Oh, I know that. I'm preaching to you. You're like, Tommy, yeah, no, I wrote the book on this.
Death happens. Get used to it.
So yeah, spoiler alert, we all die.
And you, young man, you're a third done, so get on with it.
I know. I'm hey, best case scenario, I'm a third done. Who knows what this life holds? So I look at it as I'm already dead and I'm living on borrowed time. Every day I'm like, hey, I guess we're still running this thing. So
I've often wondered that when listening to you. You know,
what? Whether
you're talking from down there or not, you know.
I'm confused.
You said you wondered if you were dead.
Oh yeah. No. I assume I'm dead every day.
I thought the noises might have been coming from down there.
Coming from under your floorboards. No, I'm going to be hiding under floorboards once the vaccine Gestapo start patrolling homes, and I'll be hiding under your floorboards and in your attic. So
I'll be coming to you because I think you got more guns than I have.
Yeah. No, you're going to join me in my compound out in the middle of the woods. We'll have some Delta Force guys. We'll be the last vaccinated men on Earth, or the last unvaccinated men on Earth. But Roger, as always, a pleasure. Dr. Roger Hodkinson. Thank you, sir.
It's been a lot of fun. Thanks, Tommy.
As always, my man. Take care, everybody. God bless. Tell the truth. Fight censorship, and do the right